Welcome back to DIY Willy. Today we're gonna work on the 224. I'm gonna figure out if I have to change the starter cup to the shorter one to use the new fan shroud I got. I have the old one here, if you remember. It's got all the dents in it, all the scratches, and where it took all the abuse internally from that bolt and stud that was inside there. So rather than smooth all this out and do all the body work to make that look right again, I bought the new one, and I'm gonna go ahead and make everything work with this one. It's got the provisions for the starter cup too. However, it does not have this bolt spot right here. So I'm gonna have to come up with this over here to bolt on the key start. And while I'm at it, I think I'll get the valve cover off and put the ratio roller rockers in there, the 1.2 ratio rockers. Get those in there. I've got to sand and repaint the manifold just to make it look better, and I'll repaint this at the same time. I would also like to paint the engine plate the same matte black that the valve cover is, just to kind of give it a complete look. So yeah, let's get going and get this done. First, I'm going to change the pull start over to the new cover and just see how it's going to fit on the engine. Should have brought out my power tools. Made this zing zing zing. That's all right. Next time, Willie. Next time. Oh yeah, there's only one bolt in there. We'll put this. I think I'm gonna hang this up on the wall somewhere, like a trophy piece, a reminder of. Man, that guy's making a lot of noise over there. There's a contractor working on the other house next across the street. So like I was saying, I think I'm going to save this piece, put it up on the wall like a trophy in remembrance of leaving a bolt inside. So let's put this one on. All right, so that we got it on there. Check it out, everything looks good. Now, people have said to me in the past why I don't turn the pull start to pull on this side rather than right here on this side. I like my Max Performance 224cc sticker to be in the right orientation. This motor is an electric start motor, so this is only backup, and I don't use this all the time. That's why I've left it in this configuration with my sticker correct. Now if I could get a new sticker, then I could rotate it back and then just put the new sticker in the correct orientation, but I don't know where I could get a new sticker. So we'll leave it like this for now. And it seems to be a little bit off center. See if I can loosen those up and fix it. All right, so now that we have this ready, now I think this is going to be too long. The other cover is a lot deeper than the new cover, so I'm pretty sure I got to change over to the shorter cup. But let's put it on there and let's see for sure if we can make it work. Nope, I was right. It's about 3/4 of an inch off. See that? I was right. It's about 3/4 of an inch off. So we'll go ahead and change the starter cup to the shorter cup, and everything should play together nicely. So there's the shorter cup installed, the longer one right there. You can see the difference. It's quite a bit longer. Obviously it's going to be 3/4 of an inch longer, but yeah, we got the shorter one on there. Let's check it out. There we go. No problem. That one will work perfectly. Okay, moving on. Okay, so look in here. We've got the rockers, and we need to set the engine to top dead center and then rotate it a little bit past. So I'm going to pull the spark plug out, so I have another view of the piston. I'll bring the engine back around to top dead center where these have no pressure on them, and then we can go ahead and release the lash on it and pull them out, then pull the rods out and put everything back in the reverse order. All right, so check it out. I had to remove the spacer as well. I figured that'd be easiest to get in here and lap the valves with the spacer off, and it was a pain in the butt to get off. It suffered a little bit of damage, so I'm gonna have to take it some sandpaper to it and kind of smooth out the edges. Also, I might drill these holes the next size up because it is pretty tight on the studs. So I think if they're the next size up, it'll give it a little bit more room to come on and off and make it easier. So there's some of that damage right there. I'm gonna have to just smooth it out so it seals up nicely. I've already got the intake lifter off, and you know, these HEMIs have these little C-clips or circlips, whatever you want to call them, and it goes right there. You want to take the one on the outside off so that you can push the little rod through there like that. And what you heard was the push rod dropping down, and then go ahead and pull the lifter off. I like to try to reassemble them, put them back together. Sometimes it's kind of a pain in the butt to put these back on, so I'll leave it off for the moment and just set it out of the way. Now we know already we're not going to use these push rods. We're going to use the chromoly push rods. They're a little bit different size than these. The lash caps, they look okay. You know, it's been running hard. It's a good running engine. So let's take a look at the new parts. So here's one of the new roller rockers. Here's one of the new roller rockers, and it'll sit in there like that. Looks pretty good. Now the push rod sits in the little divot right here at the bottom of the adjustment bolt right there. So it's got the same thing. Instead of doing the adjustment up here on the top, we'll do the adjustment on the bottom and set our valve lash that way. And you just loosen this up. It's a 12 point, so I'm gonna have to get a socket, 12 point, and then an Allen wrench to adjust it for the backlash. But I need to get the bolt for the middle, and then we'll get back to work on it. All right, so it's another day. It's a day after Christmas. It's still stupid hot out here. It's close to 80 degrees where I'm at. Man, I wish I had some of the weather that y'all are having around the country. Anyway, today we're gonna get these rockers installed, and take a look at these push rods. You know, these are the chromoly push rods. These are NR Racing 5.26 chromoly push rods, and this is what's recommended for these 1.2 ratio rockers. And if you look at them, and they're quite a bit shorter. You know, check that out. That's about a 1/4 inch or maybe 3/8 of an inch shorter. I guess that's what works with the ratio part of it, you know. I would have thought the longer push rods would have been better, but we're gonna put them in. That's what they said to use, and that's what I'm gonna use. So I hope the geometry is correct. So I got my bag of parts here of the stock HEMI parts, and I'll put those push rods in there, and we'll seal the bag. We have these parts in case we can find another HEMI head. I would love to build another one. I like the looks of these HEMIs. FedEx, that always gets Groot upset. Okay, so we got the push rods. Oh, you know what I need is my assembly lube. That's what I need. I didn't bring out here. So I picked up these push rods from OMB warehouse, and the lifters too, the ratio rockers. So let me get my assembly lube, and I'll be right back. All right, so we got the assembly lube out here. We've got the ratio rockers I'm gonna put on. Now also another thing I noticed when I was working with these parts, Let me get one of the original ones. Now I always thought these ratio rockers, when I put the stock rockers in the 79cc and swap them out for the ratio rockers were just a little bit longer than the stock rockers. Okay, here's the comparison of the stock on the lifter on the right and the new 1:3:1 lifter on the left. You can see the difference in the length. I hope. But taking a look at these, I don't know how well you can see this. Taking a look at these, where the push rod goes, the ratio rocker is actually shorter than the stock rocker. Now all I can think of is possibly, well, no, that's not true too. All I can think of is maybe this ball or this bearing that rides on the lash caps. Maybe that's in a different position, but it's actually shorter. I was a bit amazed by that because my other ratio rockers are longer. Anyway, just something I thought was interesting. So I've got the lash backed out. Let's see what Allen is that? It's about a 4, I think. Yeah, it's a 4mm Allen. We'll back those out all the way. That way I can set the lash. Now, if you remembered, I mentioned that instead of using those the circlip style locks on it, I bought these bolts. These bolts and lock nuts, 10mm lock nuts, and it's probably a 4mm hole too. Yep. So I'm going to use these instead of those other push through and circlips that hold this thing together. I'm hoping this will be easier to work with, maybe more durable. If it's not easier to work with, I can always take them out and put the other ones back in. But they come with some instructions that say no need to over tighten rocker arm bolts, tighten just enough that the bolt will still turn freely inside the rocker arm. So I mean, it's pretty cut and dry installation. We'll get them installed right now. It's going to be a mess, but we'll get them in there. So right now, neither one of these, you know, they're both the same, so you can put it on either side. There's not one for the exhaust, not one for the supply, or excuse me, the intake. Think of my ship terminology. Comes the FedEx again. Huh, it didn't get Groot's attention this time. So let's lube up this bolt. That's gooey stuff. Put some on the lash caps. I can see where the lash caps are getting some wear on them. There's marks on them already. It's not that bad, but there is marks on them. And we'll go ahead and put those in. Now they fit nicely. It's going to be interesting to put the lock nuts on. Let me see how I can do that. Comes with a washer. I think I have to back it out a little bit. Put the washer on. And then somehow finagle. You know what? I wonder if I can put it inside. I got a wrench out here. If I can put it inside the wrench. That might be easier. It's gonna fall out. I'm gonna just twist them in. It's not a good idea. That doesn't work. These might be more of a hassle. Look at that, I dropped the washer inside. Putting it on the box end doesn't work because you can't get the box end back out. So let's try it again. Oh, now I dropped the nut down in there. I should be stuffing some paper towel down there to keep these parts from falling inside. Okay. There, we got it. We got it. Gotta put the push rods. Okay. Took me a minute, but I've got them installed. It was hard to get this one past on the intake side, past the one on the exhaust side, but once you wiggle it a little bit, I had turned the crank a little bit also to get the cam to move up and down, and I was able to get that nut in there, or that bolt and that nut on there. It wasn't easy, but I got it in. So now we're going to go ahead and lap them at 3/1000ths, and I've got my 3/1000ths feeler gauge out. I've got a 4mm Allen and a 10mm 12-point open or closed, excuse me, a 12-point box end wrench. So that fits the stud perfectly. We'll set this in here like this. We can adjust the bolt on the bottom. We get just the right amount of drag right there, and go a little tighter. You can see it doesn't really move. Then back it off a little bit, it'll slide. So I'm gonna put the wrench on there. I'm gonna double check it. Right there's where I like it. Again, we're a little bit past top dead center, and I'll tighten this down. I'll double check it. I think that's good. I think that's good. Now we'll do this side. There we go. Give it a tighten. Take the tools out. Now we should be able to rotate it a couple times and see how the gap changes, if it changes, the lash. And right now we're good at the 3/1000ths. But let's give it a couple turns and see how it is after a couple turns. Now I did notice something else that I hadn't noticed before. There's a couple things that I'll be showing you. First off, when I turn this over, when I turn the crank, listen to the engine. There's the exhaust going down. Hear that? Here's the exhaust coming up. Here's the intake going down. Hear that? Clunk, clunk. Isn't that weird? What is that? Almost sounds like the rod. I don't know, but we're gonna have to give it a couple more rotations. We may have to take the side cover off and inspect that rod. Something sounds a little fishy in there. So we're good now, back to where we were. Let's see how our feeler gauge goes in. It's a little dirty. Perfect. Perfect. I like that. So we're good there. Now I can clean off the flange area, or the sealant where the gasket goes, the area, and put the valve cover back on. I need to find some new gaskets. I should have some, but we're good. We're all done there. We're got the new ratio rockers installed, the new push rods, and the new bolts holding it in. It's all lubed up. It's good to go. Now I'm just going to get some sandpaper and clean a couple areas that got a little bit rough. And yeah, then I'll find some gaskets and put this together. So I've got it all assembled. I took this, kind of ran it on some sandpaper, the spacer, kind of smooth it out. I think I missed a spot right there. I might try to do that again. I got a new fresh gasket, quart gasket inside. Here's a sandpaper I use. I just use some 1500 and a fine 2000 to kind of smooth things out. I've got another gasket ready to go. There's the valve cover ready to go inside. We'll just get the gasket down good all the way. We got the valve cover. Voila! And it's on. Now we'll put the hardware and move on to the next project we have on this engine today. Remember a little bit ago I said there was two things I needed to show you. One was obviously the work up here in the valve cover and all that, and the clunking of the crankshaft. It's making noise when it turns over. We'll figure that out. The other thing, to put this coil on and center it on the flywheel, I use spacers. And I use spacers on the nuts or on the bolts to get the coil center. So when I was looking at it right now, I happened to see something that I didn't like. We can fix it, but I wish I'd have seen it sooner. Check it out. Can you see right there? I use that nut as a spacer, and it's supposed to be right there. See how crooked the coil is? The nut, the spacer, did not stay where it was supposed to stay. It should be, the nut should, or the bolt should be going through the nut. So I'm very lucky that that didn't drag on the flywheel. You can see it's pretty darn close. It's really close. So we're gonna loosen the coil up and fix that for sure right now. I believe this coil gets gapped to 60 thousandths is what it was recommended, so I got to figure out, I think it was 2 business cards maybe that got it to the 60 thousandths. So I got to get that, and I'm gonna replace that nut right there, properly install it on the bolt. The bottom one is right. See how it is? That bolt is on the nut, runs right through the center of the nut, and that's what I got to do right there. Check it out. I got the top plate all painted. I tried to square it off a little bit on this line so this line's straighter. Got a little run right there. Oh, who cares? It's probably Minibike. Yeah, it looks really good. Put a DIYWILLY sticker right there in the corner. So I don't have a clear shield for this side, but I have the red one. You won't see these stickers unless you take them off, but they're there. I've got the parts that are painted red in the backyard drying right now. It's still pretty warm outside. It's about, what, 65, maybe 70 degrees. So I think they'll turn out nice. I'll take a look at them again in the morning once they get dry. And yeah, I like how it looks. Oh, I also have the intake manifold painting in the backyard. It's drying as well. So yeah, probably gonna stop right now. It's getting kind of late. I've been working on this thing all day long. By the time I was making parts and sanding parts and painting parts and installing parts, there was a lot of parts. Yeah, it's been a good project so far. I'll wrap this up probably tomorrow when I have those other parts all dry, and I'll go ahead and put them on the engine. Mount the pull start and put everything together on the engine. And I guess I need to test the engine, so make sure it runs good with those new lifters. Make sure the valve lash is all right. Maybe listen for that clank inside. I don't know if that's the rod or if that's the maybe the rod hitting the cam or something along those lines. I don't know. I don't remember having that sound before. But this little engine has been a headache in a sense. I mean, it performs well, but it has been a headache getting all the clearances and stuff inside right. So like I said, we'll get the cover on tomorrow. We'll get the pull start installed. We'll get the intake manifold. We'll get the NEB carb put back on, and then I guess Biggs the Briggs gets removed from Max, and the 224 goes back in Max, and we'll get it set up and take it for a ride. Hopefully we can do this all tomorrow, and that'll wrap up this video. The 224 has been out of it for about a month already, and I really like riding the Briggs. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't really want to take it out, but I don't have another frame to put the 224 in, so I gotta shop around for another frame to put Biggs the Briggs in, and have another mini bike maybe. I don't know. Mighty's gonna get broke down too this for 2023. I have another engine build from start to finish on that engine. I'm gonna try to do it faster. I don't want to do it in 4 parts like I think I did this one. I want to try to knock it out. It's a brand new engine. It's still in the box in there, so I'm gonna take it out. It's a Predator 212 non-HEMI. I've got a high compression head for it, the billet rod, 265 cam. I'll get another NEB carb for it, and I want to make another curved manifold, high-rise manifold, because that frame I want it to be up and out of the way like this one. Yeah, a lot of stuff coming for 2023. So anyway, with that said, I guess I'm done for tonight, and when those parts dry, we'll bring them out and we'll start back up again in the morning. All right, see you later. All right, check it out. All the parts are painted, put back on. Everything that's red here was painted new, fresh. And the NEB carb, it has been gone through, totally cleaned out, rejetted, and should be good to go. Everything looks wonderful. I did add this piece here to help direct airflow and maybe get more air over the cylinder. But yeah, it looks good. It's ready to go. Now for the sad part. I've got to take Biggs the Briggs out of Max in order to put the Max Performance 224 back in. And I really like riding Biggs the Briggs with Max. It goes very well together. But Max does belong to the 224. So I'm going to take Biggs the Briggs out. I'm going to put the 224 back in and take it for a ride. There we go. Max has a 224 back. There's Biggs the Briggs homeless again. We'll find another frame for it, another purpose for that motor. But that's sure a good engine. I really like that engine. But here's Max with his 224 heart. And I still got a couple things to do. Like I need to get some zip ties and zip tie the wire harness up. I need to zip tie this up. I need to zip tie the throttle cable in the correct position. And of course some of the wiring. But for the most part, there it is. It's ready to rip. Now this thing is loud. I don't like that muffler at all. I got so used to Biggs the Briggs being so quiet and smooth, and then this beast comes in here and shakes the world apart. So let's start it up, hear it run, and maybe we'll take it for a ride. I'm not sure yet. We got to be careful because the chain is on now and I don't want it to take off. We've got the Ryobi in there and we've got it ready to go. You got to be careful with that. It'll take off. Seems to be running pretty good though. Definitely got a lope to it. Let's see if we can take it for a ride. There you go. That's Max. Max is a demon. Max is a monster. Max is too crazy to ride for me. I'll leave it for the kids, man. That thing is a monster. And I know there's people that build faster bikes out there, but man, honestly, this thing was almost 60 miles an hour, and that's more than enough. I think it's fine just where it's at. If I can make it start every time and make it dependable as it is right now. I still need to paint the frame, and I've got the extensions to go on the back, and I've got a different chain tensioner to go on it, and some more painting. I don't like the muffler, so I'll probably try to come up with something different. It's super loud. I'll try to come up with a baffle that goes inside. See if I can make it a little quieter, because it's just ridiculously loud. As I said before, Biggs the Briggs is homeless again, and I'll find a frame to put it in. I've got some work I'm going to do. I'm going to remove the governor. I got a billet flywheel coming. You know, the Christmas is slowing the deliveries down. I've got a billet rod. I've got new rings. I'll probably hone the cylinder, port the head, and well, this really doesn't have a head, but I'll port the ports, smooth them out, and I'll probably try not necessarily to shave the head, but just put it on some sandpaper and make sure it's flat, the block and the head. Put a hone on it real quick just to make sure the rings seat nice, measure out the gap on the rings. I think they call it cut the eyebrows. I'll probably cut the eyebrows. And with the Briggs, compression is not necessarily the greatest thing to have. Flow is what makes those things run good. Of course compression helps, but you want flow. And if you get too much compression, you're gonna lose some of that flow, and it may actually hurt the performance of the engine. We're gonna change maybe to a 22 carburetor, and we're definitely going to do something different with the exhaust to just make it look better. And we're going to paint up the block and the engine. And you can see there's some dirt thrown up, and there's some oil that's coming out of the engine through the breather. I should have put a filter on it, but I didn't. And there's a blow by there, so that's probably the rings. And over here, it's just an oily engine. But I sure loved it. I like riding that much better than I do Max with the 224. The 224 is just a monster, and yeah, it's crazy. But I built it. I wanted to build it, and who knows, I might even build it again. Nothing is ever done. Even though I say it's done, it's never done. Got to work on the front brakes again, because yeah, it doesn't like to stop. As you can see right now, when I took it for that little test ride, the engine's performing great, but it doesn't like to stop. Even with the big rotor on the back, it's not enough. So I'll put the front brakes, I'll try to get that figured out, put the front brakes on there, and it might feel better to ride. But yeah, electric start, 224, max performance engine, and Max the mini bike. I should say Max the Moto mini bike with its Ryobi battery. It's a beast, man. It's a beast. I'm gonna go right now and fill up one of my gas cans with regular fuel, regular gasoline, and that way I can try to filter out that orange yucky gas. And I want to say, man, it works. It's back together. It's in Max, and it's happily Max is sitting happy with his 224 engine. It's too much for me. I'll admit that. I much prefer the Briggs. But it was a fun video to make. I love building these engines. I love working on the mini bikes. And yeah, thanks for stopping by, checking out my videos. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video. Leave a comment below towards anything. I don't care what it is. Maybe if it's the price of tea in China, I don't care. I'll try to answer it. Thanks a lot for all your support in 2022. We had a lot of fun building engines and working on cars and trucks and Max. I hope 2023 is just as prosperous, and we have a lot of good projects to build. I know the Briggs build will be here in 2023, and my other 212 build for Mighty will be 2023, obviously. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.